Hi everybody, Ben here from Art Less Ordinary. So today we're going to do some jesmonite stuff, but what we're going to do is we're going to add embossing onto jesmonite. So I've done this before and I've seen some other people, Claire's Crafty Corner does some really cool ones. So I'm going to do some today, but I picked out what I'm using Culture Creations embossing powder, but I'm using brights. So none of these are going to be metallic ones or anything like that. They're just going to be bright colors. So that is my go for today. Just trying to work out which color I would like to do. I'm going to do yellow first on this dark black, but I'm also going to pick out a gray as well. So these jesmonites I made yesterday, and I have sanded the back and the corners so they're not sharp anymore. So usually it's best to do that. The sooner you do it, the easier it is. I've just got a normal embossing pad and a acrylic board. So the first pattern I'm going to do is this poinsettia flower. Now I know the stamp is much bigger than the actual jesmonite pieces, but that's fine. I don't need the whole flower on there. As long as you use a certain part of it, you can usually get the pattern anyway. So first of all, I'm just going to undo this. And I'm going to wipe these. So I've heard you can use drier cloths, so I'm going to try that. My only issue with these dryer cloths is, well, these particular ones, they bloody stink. They're really, really overpowering smell, and I actually am not that keen on the smell of it. So I'm going to try that first. So this is supposed to just take off that static. So then the embossing powder goes only where you actually want it to. So then we're just going to stamp our, I usually just do it a few times in different spots so it's well inked. And then I'm just going to squash this down firmly and then lift it. Okay, that's covered well. Now I'm just going to re-ink my stamp and do the other one. Cool. So I don't know if you guys can see the ink stamp part on it, but it's coated them quite well. Put my lid on my pad. Now, I haven't used this colour yet, so I've done this shape with the red. It's just on the tip, like on the lip of the container. So I'm going to get that off. Where's my little, I've misplaced my little spoon. I put things down and then I misplace it. I thought I had it in my container. Oh, it is in there. It was hiding. This is just a pop stick, well, acrylic plastic pop stick. So I'm just going to put a reasonable amount on. Just do them both. Bang off that excess. And then just sprinkle this around the whole thing. Put that there for a second. can still see a little bit where the static is clinging. So there we go. Pattern's quite sharp, it's clear, and then I'm just going to set them aside before I do the heating. Yeah, there's still a little bit of excess. It's not bad, but I'm going to try and not have too much of the excess. And then it's just a matter of pouring what's left back into your container. And there we go, there's that one done. I'm just going to wipe that, just so there's no yellow left on that. And I'm going to wipe my stick. Okay, I'm a bloke, I'm just wiping it on my tracksuit pants. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. Now, I have this one here, which is this here. It's an assortment of flowers, all different kind of, so this is probably one that you'd put inside a coaster or something like coaster size. So I'm going to use this. So what I need to do is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe my stamp with a cloth to get that sticky. So this one here, I'm just using a wipe. And I'm just wiping off all that excess stamp gunk. And then this can go back onto its template. It's probably not the same way it came off. Put its cover back on. And then I can put that away. Now for this one, I'm going to work out what flower to use. So I'm going to put my acrylic block down. Now, I am going to go for that flower. So we might do this one in an aqua. So again, I just get my stamp, but I just reverse. So I'm just going to dab it down onto that. Now, we'll do this one in a grey. So you just line up that to where you want it to go. I want to at least have the centre flower with some petals, because you want it to look kind of like a flower, at least close up. It might not from a distance. So I'm just pressing down firmly and then lifting that up. And there we go, that's got the pattern. We're going to do two. So I'm going to dab that again. And this time I'm going to use a nearly white. So it's like a very light grey, but it's got some staining on it because I used, I did black moulds before it and I didn't wipe them out properly. But they'll be fine because you'll be able to see the pattern underneath anyway. So just push that one down nice and firm. Lift that up and yes, that's covered. So there they are. And this is going to be, so all the ones that are in the brights range are called like candy. So this is candy aqua. The other one was candy yellow. And again, I just sprinkle it on. Okay, I know something I did forget to do. I forgot to use the anti-static cloth. So let's hope that I don't get too much powder that doesn't want to come off. I've done that a few times when I've done them before. I kept forgetting to spray them with to get them with the anti-static. But there's that one. Now we'll do this one. You just get a crisper image when you do use the anti-static stuff. And I tend to forget more often than I do it. Especially when I'm not rushing, but kind of getting in a groove. My brain just kind of forgets about it. And just wipe that again, because there always seems to be a tiny bit left over. Cool. Now I'm going to shake that up too. Oops, that's right. I was keeping that in the one spot so I knew it was in camera angle. Hopefully we still are in camera angle. Now, I'm going to switch over to another flower on the same stamp. So I'm just going to move the acrylic block back and then put down the next one. Then stamp it a few times. I'm going to go the black again because I really like this deep black color. So again, I want to get the center flower and a few of these radiants. I'm going to offset the center of that flower. So it doesn't have to be in the middle. As long as you've got the center part with the radiance coming off, you can tell it's a flower. And one of the grays, oops, I better, okay, I forgot to anti-static it, so let's anti-static this one. This time I'm going to use the anti-static pouch. As you can see, it's easy to forget when you're kind of just plodding along, doing bits and pieces. This one I'm going to put right in the center. Okay, nice and firm, lift it up, that's cool. Move this out the way, put my two pieces back. Now I might do these two red. And then it's the same thing again. Just put the powder down. I'm tapping the container because it spilt on the lip. Now I'm just banging off that excess. That looks cool. And the grey. This one I used the anti-static on, the other one I forgot to. Okay, again, you'll see these better when they've actually been heat embossed. The colours kind of get a little bit more intense. So So I'm trying to get all of it out. I hate wasting anything. But everything costs money these days, and if I could save just a cent here and there, then I'm happy. And we've got a little bit of spillage on here, so we'll get that off. Okay, now I've got 2 pieces left. Now with this, I am going to move down to this flower down the bottom here. So now stamping that. And I get the large piece and squish that down. Awesome. I like the way that one's actually covered it. Now the difference is I want to do this one purple, but then I want to do the last one in a different color again. I'm trying not to make my video too long, but I want to do an assortment at the same time. So here we go with the purple. Again, I forgot to anti-static it. Sometimes it doesn't make a huge difference. I have found with some of the metallics, especially the gold, when I don't use the anti-static, the whole background has a golden tone to it. And it just doesn't come out as intense as I would like it to be. But there we go, there's purple. So we're going to put this colour away. Oh, naughty me. There we go. I think that was me actually getting the paper and flicking out the embossing powder. Alright, last one. Get a move on. Put this down. I'm going to use the embossing bag on this one. Again, just wipe it. I'm going to re-ink that flower. And do the same thing again. Push firmly, lift it up. So, even though the whole flower doesn't have, like the whole flower pattern isn't on there, you can usually tell quite easily what it is. So, now this is a candy green. I haven't used this colour, so I'm looking forward. This is the thing, I test out each new colour that I get just to see how that colour behaves and reacts. These ones are fine-ish. If I quite often like the super fine if I'm doing black and golds. Super fine gives you just a little bit more crisper detail. But I think these brights are actually usually fine enough that then they're pretty good. So it's easier to do this when you're not doing it on a camera because you've actually got more space and more maneuverability. Once you start doing things on camera, you're kind of always worried about where you're at. So that's it for these. I'm going to put these aside. I'm going to wipe my stamp. What I might do is put the stamp back on the pad. I think it will be easier to give it a clean. don't like leaving the gel or the gum on there for very long, so hopefully that's all off. Put its cover back on, which is that way. No, that didn't stick too well, did it? And then put that back up so it can go back in its case. Okay, now I am going to pause it while I get set up to do the heat embossing, and I will be back very shortly. I just have to climb up to reach my camera. Alright, back soon. Okay, I'm back. Now, when you heat emboss, remember, anything that's close by will get warm as well. So I'm using a proper embossing gun. It might be a little bit noisy. I don't know how noisy it's going to be on camera. But with jesmonite, do not keep it in the one spot for too long, especially if you've coloured your jesmonite, it will fade them. So if I do it on the black one and keep it in one spot, that part will go white. It kind of takes the colour out. So always keep it moving. And yeah, it takes a little while. It's a lot longer to emboss than it is if you just use embossing paper. So let's get going. I might start with this bottom corner. So you get relatively close and just keep it moving. And you'll see it change when it starts actually melting the embossing powder. It's just starting to now in that corner. Okay, I might do the yellow too so you can see how intense the colour change is. So can you see how it's much brighter over here than it is down there? So these two are embossed. I will keep embossing these. I'll pause it and keep doing them so it's not so noisy. And I'll come back once I've finished embossing them. But you can definitely tell the difference between that yellow and that yellow. So that's all glossy and shiny and more bright. And that there, same with that green and that green. It's brighter. It's the colours come into it. And it gives it a bit of a shine. But we'll come back soon once they're all done and we'll get some close-ups. Okay, so they're all embossed. So really happy with this. So it's sometimes, until you've actually embossed it on a lighter or a darker colour, you can't actually see whether that colour suits it or not. So this purple actually suits this lighter colour. And I've left this for a few minutes because this is on a tile because it can handle heat. It's still warm, and these are a little, so the sides are a little bit warm, but the bottom, that's actually quite hot. So you got to give them a bit of time to settle in. But this purple actually suits the lighter colour better than the aqua. The aqua kind of, you can't see it as good, but the aqua works well on the darker colour. So I know that because I made this one and I've been wearing this myself for a few days. Now, it's quite good for the simple fact that as a bloke, it's hard to find stamps that are male orientated, but I like flowers because I'm a horticulturalist. So I wanted something that from a distance, you actually can't tell this is a flower. You just see a black pendant with bright aqua color on it. But then when people come up closer, they go, oh, that's a flower, and they look at it. So I think it's quite a good style. You can tell it's more a flower on this larger piece than you can on the smaller piece that I've had it on previously. And these here, you can tell they're flowers. They look like a poinsettia from a distance. I don't know about these ones. I think they don't really look like a flower from a distance, but they do close up. That red colour's really nice, quite intense. This is the first time I've used the yellow. Yellow suits poinsettias, so does red, because you get poinsettias in reds and yellows, and you're starting to get more colours like pinks and everything now. This green hasn't come out as intense on the grey, but I think if it was on a black, it would look more better. I love the purple. Purple looks cool. Oh, that is hot still underneath. So it's also sitting on a tile which is warm, so it's probably not cooling down as quick as it normally would. But let me just touch the surface. Yeah, that's dry. That's embossed dry. It's warm to touch, but really cool. The only thing with this one is it does have that little bit of, I don't know how well you can see it up here, where there's still some powder that kind of is just giving it a hazier look in that corner, when some of them are a lot more sharper. Like that one there's quite sharp, but also the stencil sharper too. So you get that different effect depending on what you're doing. There's not a lot of overflow, like where the color has kind of the powder hasn't come off. So using a anti-static cloth is probably best, but it's not 100% necessary. But I do use it when I do gold, because if I make this with gold, yes, the main area is intense gold, but the whole background just has a gold shimmer to it anyway. Like there's minute particles of flour on it, of powder. But really happy with these. So I let these dry. I put them on a pendant, and I've been wearing this. I wore this for about 3 or 4 days at work, and then I tend to make another one, and I just wear that for 3 or 4 days. I just keep making different ones because I like them. That's the fun part about it. So is that cool enough? Yeah, that's cool enough for me to touch. I think that's upright for you guys. What I might do is I'll put it my way and I'll come down. I'll bring the camera down and we'll get some close-ups. Okay. Gotta climb the table to get my camera. Okay, here we go. There's going to be some reflection from the lighting, but that's fine. So this is focus. I hate it when the camera doesn't focus. Let's move away so then there's nothing else for it to look at but this. Nope. I'm going to have to... There we go. So as you can see, it's definitely a flower. It looks really cool. It shimmers, it has that shine to it, but it's not metallic-y. It just has a glossy look about it when it's in the right light. Now getting this camera to focus each time is going to be difficult. There's the green. Sorry, I've got to juggle everything multiple. There's the green again. You can tell that there's a petal in there, but it's just a pattern. I'm going to do some other patterns and I'll show you those at another time, because like I said, this here is only part of the stamp. So the red's really bold, especially on a darker surface. That looks quite cool. You can tell there's the center of a flower. There's some petals radiating out. So again, really nice. Has a bit of a glistening look to it. The yellow. I don't mind this. It's probably, I think some styles, like this one to this one, I like it on the smaller piece better than the bigger piece. That's just how I feel. And yeah, this is another red one on. This is very black, this piece, but there you can see I've sanded it, so there's a few micro bubbles in the back when you sand down, but that just takes away those sharp edges. And then we've got this cool pendant, so we just have to tie string to it or put bezels on it or whatever. I don't know what they're called. I just tie string onto it like a guy when it will focus. There, I just do that type of knot, and then I just do a slip knot at this end, and that works perfectly cool for me. But yeah, so I'll try and get some photos of them in the sunlight, but we'll see how we go with that. But otherwise, I hope you guys had fun with this, enjoyed it, and I will see you soon for another video. Alright, thanks everyone. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Sorry, I couldn't think of it all. Alright, catch us later. Bye. Okay, here we are everyone, outside in the sun. So, what we have here is we've got the purple one there, we've got that red one there, and as you can see it gets that like shimmery look to it at times. This is the one I previously had made that's got the string on it, so you can wear it as a pendant. This one here, it's nice, but the colours, it doesn't show up as good on that colour, so I'll probably have to use a light one to do that green, but the teal comes out really good on it, or the aqua. So then we got up here, where are we? There's the yellow. The yellow looks good on both. The teal doesn't turn out as good on the lighter colour. You can still see it, but it's better if it was a darker piece. This one's the two darkest ones. And the yellow and the red both turn out really good, and you can see that kind of shimmer coming through it. Let me just move this down to the shade, well, part shade. So where are we? So these are good. This is on now, so I can't rub that off. As you can see here, that's where using the cloth, the anti-static cloth, it's not much, but see those tiny little specks that you get in this area? That just kind of distracts from the detail, but either way, it's actually pretty good. None of them turned out too bad, so there we go. I'm trying to... The reds come out really good. And that same red I did on both the darker ones. And here's the yellow. Really nice, really vibrant. And these just make awesome pendants. So from a distance, it kind of just looks like yellow, but then when you get close you can actually see that it's got the flower in it. And yeah. And this is the one I've been wearing for the last week. So I prefer, for me being a guy, I prefer this half pattern compared to the full pattern. Only because I feel like it actually, it didn't look so florally, but it looked like a pattern. But then when you get close, you can actually see that it has that flower pattern to it. When this one here from a distance will still look a little bit like a flower. The teal or aqua does look a little bit better on the darker piece compared to the lighter grey. But you can always mix and match, you know what I mean? Just do different things that you like. But yeah, I just wanted to show you these, so I hope you guys liked them, and we'll see you soon for another video. Okay, bye.